So last but not least, we have lecture with a Q. Yep, thank you also for the comment there, Aurora. I should say I will allow people online to write questions or comments on the chat following up, and I'll give you some time, everyone, to vote. But you feel free to address questions to the presenters afterwards. But for now, let's remember, let me mute.
Better. Okay.
Are you good to share that?
I think so far.
Just cut the sound. If you're good?
Yeah.
Just a thumbs up online if you can hear us and everything's clear. You're muted currently. Yep, you're good.
Okay. Hey everyone, I'm Shlok.
Your microphone is there. Careful. We'll be online.
Oh, okay. Hey everyone, I'm Shlok and I'm going to present lecture, your all-in-one learning powerhouse. So let's get started. Before presenting the product, I would like to introduce the problems. The first problem is concerns lecture recordings, as they're integral for catching up with missed lectures, post-lecture revision, or exam preparation. But what do you do when you have a question? You can ask on Piazza, but that could lead to a delay from a few hours to a few days, especially on the weekends. And you can ask ChatGPT, but it doesn't have any context about your lecture. So let's see how lecture solves this. It is an extension, and suppose this is a graph I have a question about. I can open the tool right here, and I can type in my question. What is this graph? I don't have to provide any context as to what graph I'm talking about, because it can see what I can see, it can hear what I can hear, and it has all the necessary lecture materials. You can see that it not only answers the question, it also provides a timestamp, and this is to combat hallucination. If you believe it's making stuff up, you can easily cross-verify. And this is just one of the many safeguards implemented. Next problem. Passive learning. Whether you're watching in person or online, you're just watching. You're absorbing information, you're not retrieving it from your brain, which leads to forgetting information really quickly. And over time, this can add up. And the last problem is a lack of organized study material. You could spend hours searching, collecting, and compiling resources instead of revising, leading to disorganized revision. And both of these issues lead to the forgetting curve. You could forget more than 50% in just 1 hour. So the first feature I want to present is quiz generation. You can generate a quiz automatically based on the lecture material. But you might say, there are hundreds of websites which already do this. The problem I want to point out is they limit the type of questions. Mostly what I've seen is multiple choice questions. And this leads to two problems. One, just doing a specific type of questions narrow down your problem solving skills. So for example, with multiple choice, you're recognizing the solution instead of creating it. And the second problem is, simply put, it gets boring. So no matter how good the questions are, if the students don't do them, there's no benefit. Lecture implements at least 10 different types of questions, ensuring you're motivated, and it keeps the quizzes interesting while also keeping your problem-solving skills broad. And with each question, you get a personalized hint. And instead of it being a generic clue, it directs you to the source material. For example, the lecture slide and the timestamp in the lecture. Because the goal isn't just to answer correctly, it's to learn. The next feature, and this is what the questions look like. The next feature I want to talk about is flashcard generation. Flashcards are really useful for revision and active recall. And it was only natural for me to add them to lecture. So what's unique? I believe over time you can start memorizing the answers and also forget the true meaning of the answer. So when you're in an exam and they tell you to apply your knowledge, you get stuck. So there's a unique test me mode, and what it does is after you're done revising your flashcards, you can test yourself. So you have the question over here on the top, and you have to match the question to one of the 5 flashcards. The catch is the right answer is paraphrased, so you can't rely on just your memory. Perfect for revision. The next feature I want to talk about is checklist generation, which is also really useful for revision. You can generate a checklist for all your lectures and see if you have covered everything. It's really interactive. You can take items off as you go. And the main feature here is, suppose you don't recognize a topic, so you can click on the question mark right here, and you can instantly see where the topic was covered, both the slide number and the lecture timestamp. And last but not the least, summary generation. Again, you might say this is hundreds of websites already have this, so I want to show you some existing websites. All of them have been cited below. So what do you notice? Firstly, they are pretty boring, right? They are pretty plain text, not really engaging, and we don't want stuff to be boring because students won't use them. But secondly, they don't have any images, and now they're also leaving out critical information due to the complexity of implementing them. So not only does lecture solve both of these issues, it also allows you to customize your summary to however you want, because we shouldn't confine everyone to one specific format. Let's see how a lecture summary looks like. So here we go. You can see the summaries are really engaging and they have lots of images. And yep, this is perfect for recap. And let's finish it off with accessibility. In the summary version, there's a separate HTML version, which gives you some extra perks, like selecting text to clarify and reading text aloud. And in settings, there are at least 6 more accessibility features implemented. And why? Our university has around 50,000 students, so we should make sure no one feels left out. And one more thing. Everything I've just talked about, all the features, have now been integrated directly into YouTube. You can use the same features and enjoy the same seamless experience. Thank you.
That's 3.5 minutes of questions. Feel free to type them online, or people in the room have questions. You probably can't hear me. So this is some time for questions. If you have questions online, please type them in the chat. Or if people want to raise their hands.
How would you approach this focus on accessibility? Just a few ideas to understand.
Okay, so I can show you some features right now. Here in the settings, you have at least 6 right here. So for example, I can show you high contrast mode. If you turn this on, you get a completely separate theme for high contrast. There's keyboard navigation. So I want to point out one thing. In the question types, I noted that there are at least 10 different types of questions. And you can see some of them require interactive, like, for example, drag and drop, you have to move your cursor. Everything has been implemented. Keyboard navigation does support all the features.
I would advise looking at some guidelines for accessibility and probably first focusing on a certain category of accessibility for a certain category of people with disabilities.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Question.
So how should this be used? This is an extension, and it's on Firefox. Elaborate on the UX.
You have 2 minutes from now.
Okay. Can you please clarify what you mean by elaborate on the user experience?
Yeah, that's what I thought. I think.
I'm sorry, I
speaking
can't
about
hear
it,
you.
Can't hear me.
Chat. They can't speak.
Okay.
They're
Okay.
not going to be able to speak up, so
Okay.
just chat, please.
How should this be used? It's an extension you can directly use on Echo 360, which is the website of your lecture recordings, as well as YouTube. What will the student journey be the student journey for using this? They can use this while watching the lectures, either recorded lectures, or after watching the lecture in person, they can come here and generate all these features. With recorded lectures, they can ask the AI while watching. So there's no friction, like with ChatGPT, doesn't have any context about your lecture. You can ask right away. And if you watched in person, you can always come back and generate the quizzes, flashcards, checklists, and summaries. Does that answer the question?
Question over there.
Post-lecture, right. They will have to visit this website and they can use it directly.
I have another question.
Yeah.
So, once you type in that form, what is this graph? How are you taking the snippet of the entire screen and summarizing it using your existing AI tool, or how are you exactly working? Or do you have a very small specific context window which is only capturing that graph?
Okay, so the explanation is a bit complicated. There's a feature here called slide context, and I've written a paper about this. This feature spans around 5 pages, but to put it simply, it screenshots this slide here, it takes your lecture slides, and it answers based on that. But to prevent hallucination, another safeguard is if you ask a question about another slide, it's not going to use the context from this slide because it's going to increase context. So it uses subsets, both-way subsets, to detect which slide is which.
So,
So,
thank you very much. And with that, for everyone, I'm going to have a big round of applause for the presentation.